My brain hurts from the website. So I welcome a break.
Awesome. Well, I want to welcome you with love and gratitude into this space. We're here with Ivy from Wanderers and Sanctuary talking about soul sparks. And what I was just sharing a moment ago is what I'm working on here. So this is another spark that I've been developing. Zoom out.
Okay.
So I got my frame set up with a little bit of information about myself. And then I'm going in and choosing where my main focuses are. And so making those icons larger and then adding different pieces that I feel are important to each of these main focuses that I'm looking to. So this is like a personal soul spark, whereas this one here is more of an organizational soul spark. And this one is your DNA infrastructure type of representation, which is just yet another way of doing it. I mean, there's the strings and strands. We have the clusters, and then others have also been building their sparks as well. So, you know, they're changing the size and putting it in the order they see, but I've made it hopefully a little less confusing on the board. That's my hope anyway. And we've got a
could I make one? I was just wondering, could I make one like a tree with each person?
You can make it however you want to.
On the location. That's what I want to try to do. But that would help us, figure out where everybody's at. But it would only be a tree for, my village.
That's fine.
So I guess, all the other villages, we could do a tree. I don't know. It would be helpful for figuring out where everybody's at on the lots, little maps.
Right? Well, it's helpful to have a visualization. I'm also working on a set of badges that are chakra badges. So here I'm going to zoom in over here, and there are several different concepts we're looking at here, different design structures. But, having like our superheroes from the chakra sense, looking at it in terms of who has courage, they're going to be more root chakra oriented. And then I was thinking about The Wizard of Oz, that the movie we've all watched so many times during Christmas and whatnot, right? And I'm thinking we can have a yellow brick road here that starts with self and then spirals out as we each are able to discover more about ourselves and then share it with others. So it becomes an exploration and journey from exploring self outward. And that would be like a starting point, I think. So, and then we have them for businesses. We have the Coherent Loving Beings spark that's been created, and some others that are not specific to individuals. Like up here is one spark that I developed looking at the virtues in action. Let me zoom in here. So just looking at the virtues.
So there's action.
The actions would be like humor, gratitude, love of beauty, and hope. I believe that one is, within transcendence.
So I could like use that action thing kind of like, like for the dairy, you go get the goat, You milk the goat, then you make the cheese, and then the cheese can go to the market.
Right.
Cool.
And, it's
I'm
like
sorry, I'm just trying to see where the use would be. I mean, it's awesome for like Gaian people that is spiritual and they want to dive into that, but I'm dealing mostly with homeless people that are just ready to, be someplace that they can be. And that would be a big spiritual thing for them to have a home,
right.
and then, they should definitely do this. So
And then, yeah,
probably,
exactly.
orientation or something we should like, I want it for orientation, but I don't want people to have to do it. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
I want everything a la carte based on their path that they choose.
it's all a matter of perspective and what you want to do and participate with. There are different lenses that the soul sparks are about. So this is just one game organizational structure. And if you have a business, for example, and you want to onboard a whole bunch of people, and then you want to be able to have those people autonomously pair up with others that are still within the organization, how can that be most easily accessed? Like, so even with homeless people, looking at those internal personal perspectives and investigating what types of character strengths and virtues they feel they need. This is about that fueling and feeding of soul sparks. So, I mean, there's also ways that people who don't want to create their own soul spark and do this interpersonal exploration can still benefit from the
Well,
badge.
I think maybe it'd be more useful for me if I put, like their trades that they, the different projects that they want to be in, because I'm just like, this looks like too much like a personal diary of your feelings and your emotions
Well,
and
it's
your
it's
aspirations
not
of you.
just about that.
And so it would be like a personal journey. So I'm sorry, what?
So some of what we do, yes, is a personal journey or a journey of exploration of the character strengths and virtues. And this is about inspiring and empowering the hero within. We've also set up these badges about like your community projects. These are based on the UN SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, that have been starting to develop community projects everywhere around the world. So they're looking at these factors. And then we further expanded looking at the community propulsion sectors, so social and community dynamics. And then they've been broken down by color specific to a chakra, because there's a different frequency at which we are looking at workforce and labor unions than what we would be looking at through
Ooh,
public service sectors and local and federal. There's
cool. That's cool.
right. So this isn't just a personal, I mean, the way that this game has been set up is, here, I'll go back up to,
It's
so we
a
have this set
nation
up so that it
network.
can work either way. It can work in the way that we've been talking about for personal investigation and discovery to nurture the inner soul spark. And then the other way that we have offered this is you can use it as a map for your organization. So for example, with the We Network, you have 4 different communities that you're building, right? With project
No,
focuses.
we have, yes, 4 different departments for each community. Wait, I mean, each community
Right.
might only have just like the person there, but not the whole project, but they will have a department head though, hopefully, and that will build the project. I mean, it depends on how big the community, it might be just a fellowship center. And the fellowship center, they'll be taking trash in for their projects, but their project might not be a village. It might be just helping the local community with their own gardens, or, I mean, it just depends on what each one wants. But my ultimate goal is to have a village which would have the 4 departments, the earth, air, fire, water. You got fire, You know all of them, right? Or should I tell it for the camera?
Yep.
Fire's your spiritual,
Absolutely.
your
Please do.
what you're on fire about, your religion, your everything. It's your department, pretty much, for the soul spark. It's the spark of your soul, the fire. There you go. Earth is everything earth, gardens, earthing and nature and all of our animals and how we are interconnected with them within our community. Our communities all have the wildlife edge, which is the sanctuary, and then we have the inner edge, which is plateau domestication, silvopasture, which is your wild animals and your livestock animals mingle on that border, and it's their bands going around each village, and then inside that would be a silvopasture. I'm sorry, back to that would be like your fruit trees and your fields, but there'll be couple of fruit trees in there, here and there. It will be completely, without devoid of shade for the animals in there. And then inside that is another garden, and then inside of that is residential band would be the water is anything that has to do with community, the township, the schools, the could be the shops in the town, but the shops would also, they're like tridoshas, because they might be more with the farm, but or a shop might be more with eco-junk. Eco-junk is our air is where you're doing your productive stuff. This is when you're working towards any projects, like we got gas from plastic. Our all of our villages are built 95% waste as fuel and building material, pretty much 99%. That last 1% we get from our We Mart, which is where we act as a collective to use our mass buying power like a corporation, and it's the People's Corporation, to buy from actual manufacturer, straight from the manufacturer. So we are the middleman then. So we don't need no corporations for that. We are a corporation, and we can get the mass buying power of Walmart. So we have our We Mart, and that's all the community. That's all the water and earth is. The big thing that's left will be the spirit, right? Ether. That's the We Network. The We Network is our private Facebook. That it's a Facebook with a purpose. Buckminster Fuller, is that what the name? You said replace the existing with a new one and just make it the better one that we need. And that's what we're doing. People are welcome to join, and it's free. You can start a project and have everybody collaborate in it. Just put it in the department where you're at, advertising there. But you can create your own project group where you'll have your own back office for free. You'll have your chat room, teleconference room, email integrations, your own CRM pipeline to bring in anybody in. Essentially, for the We Network, we got the same system that Facebook started with. There's some big Walmart used it for a while. Macy's uses this. It's the behind the house system for a corporation. We've got it for us, and we put it together as a Facebook with the feed, so it's easy peasy to use. You create your own algorithm based on what trade groups that you join, what projects you join, and what locations you join. And then there's also the elements that you can join those big groups there. There's the 4 big groups that where everybody advertises in from their group, and the state groups also, they advertise in there so everybody can find everybody. So
to be able to have this up for people to know where to go to log into this network for this conscious community with a purpose. I like that.
Yeah, again, that's just, this is it explains everything here. It talks about how the We Network is our industry consultants, trade skills. You can go there and learn you can learn your trade. We have the teach as you learn. So we ask that everybody upload something, works in there 3 hours a day, uploading some type of educational content. A lot of times, just from YouTube would work. Just help us out with putting it all together. And everything's based on trade. Wanderers, these are people that are, sorry, get a cold. These are the people that are welcome to our villages that want to check us out when we get going. Each village starts out with just first the elders, and then you have to click on the membership page there to show. First, you have the elders, and then the elders get the property. You have to have elders in each state, 4 people, 1 for each department. That's a vet. Those 4 people that Frank Winham was talking about. That it's easy to start as long as you got a minimum of 4 people. That's what the main problem is getting the people at minimum of 4 in each location. But then from there, then you can go and get your pioneers, and then your tradesmen, and then your villagers and wanderers. But it all starts out with a campground on the property, and then we build a fellowship center, and then the people come to the campground, to the fellowship center and the gardens, and we'll be always working on the gardens 1 day a week for everything. That was in that pictures that you were looking at shows that on one day we do the earth stuff, the next day we do village stuff, the next day we do all the way down the line, so everything gets allocated time. And so when people show up to the village, they have the option to stay and pick up a trade, open their own trade shop. These will be villages later that will hopefully be just like a village that you drive through a town. You'll be able to have people come into these shops from the public and make purchases for income for them, and also be a resource-based collaboration for our economy for each other. So in other words, I'll have my own private barber, and I'll go there and get my hair done, or tattoo artist. We do the stone soup principle when people join up. We want them, if you look at our form, it talks about stone soup principle, that whenever I join up, I'm going to be then just focusing on my trade. And so I can take my dog clippers and my hair care stuff, that like my really, really good stuff that I got for doing my own beauty stuff. And I've got a tattoo machines and guns that I can take and spread them out to the community for their use. So everybody's like stone souping for each other. So what is that?
I have one question regarding the community building projects that you have. This is something that we just saw the other day from an intentional community video, where the community had started TikTok, and their members were going and sharing stuff on TikTok, and they said that it was fully open for people to come in. And what are some of the structures that you have in place to maintain peace and sense of like community, where things are not being finding friction, where there's like illegal practices that might happen if certain people were to be on the property? How do you vet and make sure that the people within your communities are going to be able to be a functioning community?
We use a transition with Nicole Bing Fang. That's all over our site, that they have to get to phase 2 with them to be a part of us. And that's a very, very thorough vetting process. You've been to her, I'm sure, I don't know if you've been to her site or not. You might have. If you went through our orientation, you would be in her site. But a onboarding process with us is going through the transition. And the transition talks about the pale blue dot. It talks about community. It talks about how we do everything by consensus, and definitely covers all of that. That's her department. Nicole
So
Bang Fang,
right,
the transition.org.
and so this is what I wanted to share earlier, because we were talking about the different departments within and the structure of your communities, and you have it down to 4. The reason I'm sharing this is when we're talking about like your community project and what you just stated about what it's about, right? We go over to the SDGs, and if we build your community spark, for example, we would look at the sectors and the focuses. So for your community, you're helping people who are homeless, right? So
Yeah.
if we were to build your spark, you would want to use no homelessness, no poverty as one
I
of the
think
focus points of
I
your,
told you, we would pretty much cover all of those would be on our
right.
boards in one way or another.
And
That's what I was saying. Everybody. I love that.
isn't that great? We want to be able to show like those specific focuses, though, that like when I showed you the spark that I was working on and how I've made some of the badges larger than others. This is what I'm just sharing. You know, I don't want to tell you how to create your organizational sparks, but there's a lot of different areas of focus. But what are more central focuses that you have within these communities? What are those values that you're wanting people to understand when they come in? I'm sorry?
Clean water and sanitation would be all 4 departments, except, well, it would be 3 of the 4 departments, everything but fire. But then in fire, we should have, it would be the fire department too, because I would like for them to have an outreach program to help people learn about clean water and sanitation. So it would be in every department for that. The gender equality, the same. We would want every department to cover all of those in one way or another, either as the department head for that or just a division of it, the works of it, the movement, the spiritual movement, the people involved with it, and then how it affects our environment. See, that's how that would connect with all 4 of those.
So
and
it might be like you take one, for example, homelessness, and then you would take an arrow and you would go, all right, so this I want to connect over here to
Gaia Living.
Water
Gaia
sanitation.
Living, we have the outreach services, which is like the homeless, the outreach services to local community to help bring people in and help them with their PTSD and any psychological problems. We have our spiritual stuff to help them with that. And then we have for the homeless, the earth would be the We Sanctuary Gardens, which would be the campgrounds. And then for the air, that would be the workshops that are available for them to utilize to learn a trade. The village part, which would be the water, that would be where they have the opportunity to join and get a home, get a house built, get a trade shop built, and have their own gardens instead of just being on the rotation for everybody else with everybody else's gardens that they go work on. They'll have a garden that they will have been put in the rotation for everybody to come help them instead. Everything that's in there. We also have the We Workshop that teaches about disposability. It teaches about how, the story of stuff. The pale blue dot. It's a school. It's educational, and it teaches everybody. So it'll wake them up.
Well, what I would like to do is add you to that Miro board. If I haven't already, I don't think I have. I need your email address.
Well, I did that. The We net.inc@gmail.com.
So that's what I'm going to do is I will add you to the board, and you know, this is something you can use just to explore for identifying for the organization. You don't have to do it for yourself. That I want to stress that out, like from the get-go. This can be played any way that you want to. It can be developed any way that you want to. There's a lot of components on the Miro board, and this is that beta test. So, you know, it's a little clunky, a little bit funky.
Everybody will understand, I'm sure. But, you know, that thank you for the opportunity to blab about it, plug. Thank you. But
Well,
I want to use what you got, but I need your help for the department of it. You know, that's what I need from you, is you putting it in to what we got. You said we got Miro already with me and you, and Nate was looking, remember? It's in there already. So we just need to finish putting it in. You create the doorway for everybody in our network to get to it. Put it in the orientation. That would be great.
Okay.
You know, if you can figure out how to get those tasks to work, do it. Integrate it into our system so all of us, everybody will be able to get to it. They're available for anybody to use that needs their system spread to the collaborative. So
thank you. Working very hard developing, because I have a workshop that I'm starting. It's for the Soul Spark activity books collection. So just focus on what the character strengths and virtues are, what the SDGs are, and we'll have breakout rooms where people can go and do little discussions and solution discussions, or, you know, we have questions, a set of questions that have been developed in the activity book, and we want people to participate, join in, and it's about that exploration right now. So I can add that information on the We Network for sure, absolutely. And I've just been so overwhelmed with what I have to do. We're busy bees.
Want to open the doorway to the We Network for everybody to use it to open the doorway to everybody else. The We Network is just your own. It's everybody's. It's the We Network.
Also, you know, we have the website that we've had up for a year that I'm trying to get finished. I did some updates on that, and I have so I'm starting to connect all these pieces, including the We Network.
You have a site already. All right, you have a site. So then what we can do is in your work group, just we have the integrations where when it's shown on our public site, they click on it and it'll just go to your website. Okay. It'll be just your page of your website. So your website will be inside our site that way, kind of.
That, I mean, you know, and don't worry about what
that's what we do for the projects. Yeah.
We're basically here trying to do this as organized yet decentralized as possible. But we have a couple of people who want to be able to work on an event that we will go across the country with, the Soul Spark City. And that would be with attaching to intentional communities and starting to raise awareness within the cities that there are alternatives out there, that there is a solution to a lot of these problems. And we're wanting to celebrate everybody's solutions and sparks and be able to just bring it to the real environment. So we'll definitely be working on getting these more meshed and connected together. I have been working on the Bitrix to look at things and start exploring. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to figure out there.
Your cross-country thing, we could put you on as a camper convoy to everybody. I don't know, do you like accept other campers to travel with you?
Sure.
You know,
I mean, that would be a part of that city. It's a moving
village location.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Yeah, we
moving
got a map.
city, kind of,
I love
being
it.
able, yeah, and people can attach or they can stay depending on what they decide to do within whatever city or community that we visit.
Yeah.
And then we just keep going. And this is not just about the Soul Spark game. This is about providing that framework. So, some of what you've been working on would also be a part of this project. And the more that we can get it consolidated with these options, like everything is its own little package. What do you want to do here? Do you want to build a Soul Spark, or do you want to do something else? Kind of the package is to be catered to wherever we're at, to mold it to whatever is what the community decides to be the most important. That's why I was showing that on the Miro board, how some of those badges you can make larger because that's more of a focal point, and then the ones around them are smaller because they're like.
What do you do with the badges?
I'm sorry?
What do you do with that? What do you do after you build your board?
So what it is about identifying.
Is it just a mental map?
It's a visualization, and you can take it and put it on your profile. You can take it and share it with others as a visual explanation of your organizational.
Do you think it's a possible way that we can integrate it to whenever people are filling out their profile? Boom, there it is. So when we click on the profiles and then we network, it's there. So I can look at people's feed. I can look and see what groups they're in. I can look and see the pictures that they have. Or it's just like your own personal Facebook page. So we should, we have a stress tester on it already. For like
we need to look into that.
The dosha. Oh my gosh, that would be so awesome.
Yeah.
That would be a way to definitely be integrated, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Or whenever they join, we'll know where to put them and, get them more proactive and doing the 3-hour thing a week. So the Instant Eco Village engine will actually start running then. Its fuel is the people. We need the fuel.
Well, and what you were saying about the ether, just the ether and about the spirit and how we're looking within and taking, it's like I have a time bank sheet that I created. In my time bank sheet, some of the time slots are for dreaming, breathing, exercise and yoga, and self-care. Because we need to be able to manage within our daily lives our own self-care and wellness. So that's why I created that.
I imagine where every 3 hours you switch, between earth, air, fire, water, spirit, every 3 hours. And that would be so cool though, because we have like for the time bank for us, we have the complete scheduling, where, if you're doing a task, and then put it on your schedule, your reminders, your calendar events, your social events, everything is available on there. So you can click that, hey, I'm doing this, or have like little pop-ups reminders, it's time to do this. I love that.
Right?
We can integrate that into that because right now it's empty. Yeah,
I'll put that on I'll put that on
already for them like that.
Want to get this integrated into the Bitrix. How can we get this time bank set up so that everybody has these, and it would be great if we eventually are able to get reminders, like little reminders of, hey, have you spent time
attach a task? You can attach a task,
right?
Yeah, like, you can create tasks off of anything.
Earthing and stuff like that. That would be a really good thing for people to be reminded to do. Go outside and look at the sky for a minute.
Anybody that like say they want to take a swing at it, it's available for them to do so. You know, we just, anytime we're doing website stuff, we just say, hey, make a copy. But there's no way to do copies, so, but we could just like backtrack if we need to, I believe. We're working now with Good Guys, Bitrix Help, site tech people. We're under review from them because I am asking for them to do a work with us pro bono until we are good enough that we can go ahead and start putting, you know, donate to the cause somewhere to where we could get an income, and then they would be, you know, allocated a percentage of that, but all the other percentages will be going to each department, you know, like the water department would be going towards helping the villages with the money for a startup for someone who wants to open a trade shop and he needs a meat slicer because he's going to be the butcher. You know, we can help him go get that, and the money will be there. And that's what we need to do is get that. That's the accounting department that we would connect to that. I love it. You just make a Facebook post of any, on any page, make a post like you would on Facebook, and then at the bottom it says to what department. You start ticking away anywhere you want it to go, or you just tick all users if it's really important. You could do it as a file, you could do it as a task, you could do it as an announcement.
Okay.
And you can actually Control A, Control C, complete web pages into these.
All right.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah, everything is uploadable. It's got everything. It's really cool, free back office for anybody with the project that wants help.
And the spirit of intent here is sticking with the golden rule, right?
The golden rule, yeah, that we're not going to be keyboard warriors. We're not running around in circles with like worrying about things. We got priorities. Well, those priorities is getting the people and collaborating on the project to get it done. We're not, it's a Facebook with a purpose. We got to keep moving forward for that purpose.
All right. Awesome. I'll let you go then. Thank you for joining today. We do have this room open every day as possible at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's for people who have questions, want to talk, want to explore a little more about the Soul Spark. And the idea here is we're just enabling this space for that free conversation. That's why I've set this up this way. So if we can do it in a Bitrix, that would be great. I just am unsure about the recording and quality. So I still got to look into that. And also where I'm storing those recordings is a little bit of an issue.
It'll automatically store it into the project. Whenever you want to record, whoever is doing the recording has to use the Bitrix app, desktop app, and they've just upgraded it. I haven't checked out the new one yet, but it automatically, whatever room, every project, every group, everything has its own teleconference chat room, and if you record something in it, it automatically gets attached to it. Each one has its own drive, its own cloud, its own photo, its own task list, its own calendar, its own events. And for the Bitrix, for the We Network events, every state will be having meetups, one a week. The one a month that will always be moving around will be the fire. That would be done around like the full moon. And then the other ones, earth, air, fire, or earth, air, and water, would be, you know, the water would be talking to the meetup, talking about the township. The air would be talking about eco junk, you know, projects and things. And a lot of times, if there's not people there, we will just have a video playing regarding, you know, that. And it's like a chat room. Everybody, we watch a video together and have a chat during the video. It's like, you know, movie night. It's pretty fun.
Okay.
So we do that every week.
And you're looking for 4 people in each state to be satellites, and get their community together in each state, right?
Yes. Yep. We need an earth person. We need a Bill Nye science guy, MacGyver type person for air. And then we need spiritual, Gaian spiritualist warrior, new age earth monk, Diego in Colorado. He calls himself the monk. That would be our fire. And then we need the water. I am water, the one that's the organizer, the one that's helping out the most, that the one that's like ready to put the town together. That would be that person to help with onboarding, and everybody works together.
Awesome.
So
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll just keep working together and seeing how we can support you in getting things together. It's just taking a little longer than we would like, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful day. You have a wonderful day, okay? Bye.